in charge of being personal teachers to new players and answering questions regarding gameplay. You will be able to be a mentor through an application of interest. This will fall under the head mentor leadership, but it will start with me being in charge of the project if it becomes a reality. Let's see. I'm also interested in talking. Okay, hold on to your seats and don't go crazy in the chat or something. Okay. I'm also interested in talking to the current admins, aka Hulk and Carp, and Oranges to discuss adding a vote to re-enable limits temporarily so the new players can have access to it. However, I'm not as interested anymore since I don't really want to break the compromise down to the community. And yeah, I never expected that I will be explaining why we should have cat girls again. I meant felinates. Yeah, I expected you to go crazy. Well,
Okay.
yeah, don't go loco yet, okay? Hear
It's
me
okay.
out. It's with a good intention. I'm not even a copier player. Well, next turn was for Carp, but since he's running late, I will
Yeah.
give it to Hawk.
Hey, what's up? It's me. I'm here for another 6 months, so I can go crazy. And my decline begins now into ultimate madness. Um, I worked a lot last term on escalation policy, which wasn't super known to the community because a lot of it was behind the scenes. But now I pitched at last community meeting. I got some feedback. I made some tweaks. So I was waiting until this term started to actually make a policy thread on it. So that will be coming up in the next couple weeks. I'll make a public policy thread on my escalation write up, get public comments, get public opinions, and I would like to move forward with implementing that in the future. On that same note, I've never actually had that much of an issue with silicon policy, but a lot of people do, so that's something I want to examine, and I would go about it the exact same way that I did with the escalation policy, which is getting feedback from the community, seeing what works, what doesn't, where things can be trimmed down, and I think that's my biggest goal, is to just kind of trim the fat a little bit, because it's become bloated over time with special exceptions. Other than that, my biggest goal is to focus, which is not on honestly like the player base as a whole doesn't care as much about the forums, but I plan on focusing a little bit more on forum interactions, tweaking rules on policy, the policy forum in particular. Arianya had a good idea in her candidate thread, and I'm totally going to steal that, which was to give like a way for headmans to check in on threads and to let people know what we're thinking before actually moving ahead on something. So people have a place to go. It's not stealing, it's gently co-opting, okay? All right. Other than that, I would like to say that being a headman is often a very reactionary thing. I mean, I've got 6 months of experience at this point. Trying to do too much all at once and shake things up like a whole lot is just something that's not possible. You kind of you have your agenda, you do your best to take care of it, but at the end of the day, you're just reacting to what goes on in the player base and accommodating them because we're here for you guys. Unfortunately, we are public servants.
Yeah.
For better or for worse. That's about it.
Well, it will be normally Carp turn, but I think Carp isn't here yet.
Yeah, he'll
Let
be
me
alright.
check. Yeah, he isn't here. So let's proceed with the questions. Remember to follow the rules that are pinned to the channel.
Woodley will talk for Carp.
And okay, well, they will talk for
Yeah,
Carp. Go ahead.
she'll explain his platform. I'll tell you Carp's platform. Carp's platform is that he got picked by the three headmans and he got thrown into this mess. So he's stuck.
He's stuck
Yeah,
forever
he's
with
just
us.
stuck.
I'm not sure. He said he will arrive like 5-10 minutes late.
Yeah, he said he would be late.
He'll be late, yeah.
Yeah,
But
he'll be alright. Yes, he was press ganged. Exactly.
Hello, it's me, Carp. I'm your husband.
what?
Oh, God.
Wally,
That's really
Wally,
loud.
why? Well, since she already gave card part. Let us proceed with the question.
Oh yeah, that's a good question.
Chris, just ping us.
What would
I'm
you
going.
guys think on a system to centralize admin precedent? From what I can tell, admin precedent has no central place where admins can go to learn it, or older admins can go to refresh themselves. If you're specifically talking about things like ban durations and like a standardized system of punishment, then in that case, it's a tricky subject. We do, for the most part, I'll let Morta give her opinion, but my opinion is that we have always had at least one standardized thing, which is if you kill someone, we ban you for 24 hours, and for every additional person, another 24 hours. And beyond that, it's all subjective. And honestly, I kind of think it's for the best. I know it can be frustrating and difficult sometimes whenever one admin might give a note for something and another admin might give a ban for something. But in a game where, like this one, where everything is super free flowing and you can't commit, like, it's all very contextual and situational, it's hard to define a way for to have a perfect system where every punishment fits into a nice little category.
Necrophiliac Arthas Chase asks, when are the new chemicals coming to the event hall servers?
What? No, never.
I'm
Well,
still
anyway, regarding the previous question that's made by Space Furious, as Hulk said, setting a precedent will be too complex and it will generate more issues than they will solve it. And I'm starting to get distracted. Well, it's true. Anyway, we have a system. Usually it's a day ban. Usually it's 24 hours per kill or a permanent ban for evasion, stuff like that. The chart, well, the TLD of this, sorry, I'm getting stuck, is that no, I will probably not set a precedent because it depends on case by case. Yeah, that's case by case.
To answer this previous question about, got two questions here, two-parter. On the topic of mentors, how do you believe Seth Tide was handled? How would you have handled it differently if you were aware it was coming? Question 2, what the fuck are we doing with Civil 2? Question 1, as far as if you were aware it was coming, totally doesn't matter because there's no way we could have known it was coming. It just kind of happened and was dropped in our lap. That was very early in the term. How I would have handled it personally, because someone who lived through it, how I would have handled it differently is the way we reacted with Panic Bunker. At the time, it was we kind of panicked, hence Panic Bunker, and it locked a lot of people out. But honestly, like, I probably wouldn't have reacted so strictly on the keeping new people out of the server. Most of them meant well. They were just didn't know what they were doing. As for the second part, and mentors would have helped a lot during that, I should say, because we had some some members of the community who were spending a lot of time on Event Hall, and they were helping out new players and teaching them how things went, which is what a mentor is for. But as far as just like administration, it was very overwhelming. So if we had had like an extra little layer of buffer zone between the players and the administrators, it would have helped that transition a lot. I will admit that. And what we're doing is Civil 2. I mean, the higher role playing rules server has been thrown around, but that would require a lot of setup if there's enough interest for it.
Well, as Hulk said, regarding question 1, I agree. And regarding question 2, I would like to turn it into a medium roleplay server, but that will take a lot of time to work in. It needs new roles, new admins that are interested in working in it. Yeah, it will take a time. It will take I don't know how to speak. It will take a bunch of time, and I can really give you an estimate of how much it will take. But I am willing to work in it. Ivory asked us a question.
Did you see that one? Do you want to get this next one?
Literally, just don't break rules, idiot.
What are you guys' thoughts on Event Hall being removed? Yeah, Event Hall got pretty dead after it was removed from the hub. Mm-hmm. Even when it's recovering its population, it blocks some of the admins that work on it. Yeah, there's an issue with event house, to be honest.
Part of the thing is a lot of this. I had people who played on Event Hall who were on our Discord sending me messages. They're like, "Where did it go?" Like these people just did not know about our website or how to access the server beyond the hub. And I'll answer your question in just 1 second. These people did not know how to access Event Hall outside of the hub, so it's seriously just like a lack of knowledge. For some reason, they didn't know that there was a way to connect to the game beyond the hub. And what you asked was, when will you stop Coder Bus's sinful hand? They keep doing shit that makes players mad. This is the dangerously hot take. Yeah, they're doing a lot. Like the new Kim system has a lot of issues and has a lot of problems, but these things take a lot of time to figure out, and they're not unaware of the fact that people are unhappy. Like they've actively admitted on more than one occasion that this is a process that's going on. They do care is the thing. But you have to also take into account that we don't have a beta testing type environment to try out new things. Like we have test merging, which it should have been. It should have been test merged, but like they merged it all the way, and that's just how it happened. So without some kind of beta testing like environment or having it been test merged, like at this point it's already in there, and outside of like fully reverting it, we just have to suffer through the process of letting it get refined and letting it get to a point where it's acceptable, which it's slowly making its way in that direction right now.
Alternative codebase server depends on MSO. We can't do anything about that.
Yes.
We enabled the damn bot. Anyway,
I am carp.
Oh, make sure if you send us a question to ping either head admin elect or one of us, so it'll stand out easier.
Anyway, Haikyun asks, assuming that the mentors thing got accepted and was actually going to be implemented, do you have a clear idea in your mind, or do host a general notion about what will be done and how it will work? I already have a document where I have the rules written for them, what steps will be taken to implement them, how the application form will be. But as I said, I still have the issue of not having the tools to implement them. Okay, next question by Tarlock.
Let's see. Are you going to address the issue of rounds with dynamic mode being way too short? I've seen a lot of idiot heads lately. You're going to use... Yeah, as we've said, higher time requirements do not... Like, we can keep increasing time requirements on things, but it's not going to gate people out forever. All we can really do is crack down on people using head rolls in stupid ways, which we have a rule for already. It's just something that hasn't seen as much use lately, but it can be. A lot of these are code related, which, as we always have to remind people in these things, we're not in charge of the code. We only deal with server policy.
At most, I'm interested in being a bit harsher with people that play as head of staff because, I'm not a fan of captains that upload laws to the AI and then wonder why it killed everyone. Well, that's about it, to be honest. And it talks about
Clark Cult has claimed another admin had let it die.
Oh my god. Will there be a second permanent dynamic mode server? Well, if I am not mistaken, Bagel is in dynamic mode too, but I'm not completely sure.
No, I don't think. I think it's on. I think it's just in the rotation.
Oh, okay, my bad.
It's in it's one of the things that'll pop up, but it's not like all the time.
We already have people killing cat gears because they think are valid, and the answer is no, cat gears won't be valid.
Yeah, so there's a thing that Lizard players from time immemorial, as in when they were added, have always been through, which is that sometimes you face oppression due to the roles that you choose to play, and that doesn't necessarily make it okay. Like, you're not valid, you can't be killed, so you should always help it if someone's, taking it too far. But you're going to face some level of oppression for playing these, like, non-human races, and that just comes with the territory. So if you're playing it and not expecting that, then I don't know what to tell you.
Will Terry remain on permadynamic? I'm thinking of changing the values a little bit, but I don't really have a plan set on stone. Do you have any plans of putting the current cat gears to vote like the sitting administration did? To vote what? Like renable them or? Sorry, I didn't really understand your question. If I am a cloud, am I allowed to intentionally target non-humans? You can make fun of them, but don't kill them, you know?
Oh, here's an interesting one. Is there any thoughts on re-enabling anti-grep? I remember last time there was some talk about messing around with numbers, try to adjust it to a more comfortable level. I'm actually in favor of that. It was turned off 2 terms ago, but there's a way we were talking about with oranges and stuff about tweaking it to make it a little more acceptable thing. And really, the entire idea is that if you're not getting antagonist all the time, or if you're not getting antagonist ever, this will at least give you some level of reassurance that you'll be able to play an antagonist role at some point. It does not, by the way, it does not mean that if you stock up enough anti-grep, you can guarantee a round where you can play. It just increases the odds.
Anti-grep is bad because it did not work for me.
1 second, someone is requesting to talk in voice chat to ask us a question. 1 second. Community.
No, that's this unverified person. Is that what you're talking about?
Wait, what?
Yes.
No shit,
Wait.
nothing.
Her. How did you even get in here?
Whenever we made the channel, we didn't dissuade
1
people
second.
from.
I'm very glad.
What's the recommended amount of dedicated WAM I should have to a server? I don't remember how he responded to that. Thank you, Citra. There's a lot of questions rolling in. Will Terry remain on permadynamic? That's an interesting thing that we should just see what people on Terry are liking it or disliking it.
Gregory wants to ask a question in voice chat.
It probably shouldn't stay on permanent dynamic for too much longer, but if a lot of people really like it, then hey, maybe we can fucking leave it.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to give Gregory the community meeting speaking role now. There you go.
We
Can you
like
talk?
dynamic.
They might need to leave and rejoin.
Yes, there we go. Hello, I'm Gregory.
Hello, Gregory.
So, in regards to the whole the proposed mentor introductions, what sort of requirements do you think there would be to apply?
Well, the most important thing for mentors will be for them to know the game, you know, because how are they going to explain it otherwise? I don't really care about the record history they have, unlike with admins. So if you break the rules constantly, but you're a really knowledgeable player, you will be considered. However, if you have a terrible personality and you are not patient at all, then you will not be chosen to be a mentor. That's basically the requirements that I have on mine.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. No, I was just wondering
Any-
because I have been banned from this server in the past for being a dipshit.
Yeah,
Mm. That's a tried and true thing.
anyway.
Yes, the next person may ask their question. I'm done.
Okay.
Maybe I'll be
I
Tracer.
will. God, I will ask you to. Oh well, you can mute your microphone too. That's fine. Sorry, Grumpy. Mind if I don't?
Here's a question that came in a while ago, but I do want to address it because I think a lot of people are talking about it. And you touched on it earlier, which was, do you have any plans on putting the current cat girls to vote like the sitting administration did? I personally think that the last vote was slightly skewed in that it had like 4 options. One of the options was keep them around. The other 3 options were get rid of them and also some extra thing. So in the upcoming vote that I would indeed prefer to have, which is basically just 2 options, do you want to keep them on the server or do you want them off of the server? No like extra incentives, no other options that can like dilute the thing, because it's the only way to get a fair readout on what people actually want regarding that.
Kang asks, why do you want to add mentors when admins have already acted as that role? Because I think the additional help will be useful for admins, because admins already act that role doesn't mean that they can focus on new players. They have to be on everything, you know? While an admin is checking why Mr. Grey Tide bombed cargo, a mentor could be paying attention to a new player and explaining the game to them, you know? That's my idea, personally.
Hello?
Hello, Nerbere.
Are we at the Q&A part, the meeting?
Yeah, we are already on that.
Okay.
Scarf hasn't arrived yet.
Yeah. He's
I'm
out.
gonna spam ping carp. Okay?
Carp.
Why are there 6 memes?
I'm
Head and
Carp's
stance on cut
interpreter.
removed from rotation and tag rolls. Which cut from removed from rotation and tag rolls? I think the only one that's like monkey, which is awful and also broken, like clock cult, which is not functional. Trying to think of off the top of my head. I mean, there's like meteor, which is not really an antag roll, but it's a roll for the game mode.
Okay. Let's see other questions. I think someone asked to talk in voice chat, right? Who was it?
I believe so.
You don't need Carp because I'm Carp.
Is dynamic going to be tweaked so team and tags are more balanced? That's purely a coder bus thing, but I will say that they've been talking about Oranges specifically has been talking about tweaking that.
Was that wobbly?
Yes. No, that's Carp actually.
No.
It's Carp.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Any thoughts
Carp.
about? God. Any
Carp
thoughts about?
interpreter. Okay. Hello?
Any thoughts about making Civil 2 some kind of testing server with some kind of sandbox? Local host does exist, but at most you're going to get like 3 other people playing with you. Well, I mean, right now Civil 2 has like 3 other people playing.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any issue with actually using it as a
Granddad
testing
wants to
ground,
talk.
but part of the problem that we use servers as a testing ground, like often Bagel gets picked as the testing ground, is because there's a lot of people who play on it, so you can find issues very easily. So I don't have any problems having a dedicated testing server, but then you have to find a way to actually populate it as a testing server.
But
Us
for
too is
Civil
that
2,
Sandbox is broken. It has not been touched
Yeah,
in like
Sandbox
2
is
years.
also awful. It's
Yeah.
like, it's terrible.
For Civil 2, I personally, like I said before, I want to turn it into a medium RP server, but nothing is set on stone because that will be a big project to make. Now, Grandad wanted to talk in voice chat. I'm going to add them. 1 second. There we go. Try talking now.
You have to leave and rejoin.
Oh, they have to leave and rejoin. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey
Sorry about
there.
all that. It's going to be the same thing I asked in the chat, but when is Grey Tiding going too far? And, well, when is it that AI has to go for Law 1 to not help them?
The artificial intelligence. Okay.
But, yeah, when is Grey Tiding A-helpable outside of Grey Tide killing?
For an example that comes to mind of something recent that happened will be when a person is breaking into bridge or the captain quarters every single round, and they don't stop even when being warned by the admins. We usually step in when it heads too far, or when they give out all access all the time, or they think it's fine for them to great tide into the armory and kill the officer because they were trying to arrest them. Things like that are what are a helpable.
Also, second part of that is, do we have to let Great Tide into places as AI, or can we use Law 1 and be smart with it to say, no, we really, really shouldn't let you in there for good reason?
Historically, the Silicon policy like precedent is that if it's like something like the armory where you can like clearly they have no right to be in there and it's full of really dangerous shit, or like the AI upload, you don't have to let them in there. The other thing is if you have seen this person personally committing a lot of harm throughout the entire round, then that gives you reason to believe that like, hey, wherever they go, they're going to continue to commit harm. But
All right.
outside that, like the AI is not always meant to be, super useful. It's kind of meant to create some friction amongst the crew because they let people into places they're not supposed to be, just because by virtue of law too, they have to do it. So the AI is not always there to make the round easier for everybody. Sometimes it's there to make it more difficult.
All right, it's just I've seen the AI let people in, and well, I've seen the AI let people in the head of personnel's office, and then people just kill the HOB.
Well, that's entirely dependent on if they have a reason to believe that they shouldn't. I mean, the AI obviously has cameras everywhere, so you can they have more information available to them than they do other people, but they can't always know what every single crew member is up to. Like, it's just not possible.
Okay, I'll end my turn here. Take the roll away, please.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Let's remove. Wells asked the talking in voice chat. Anyone wants to? Okay, well, one question. This is concerning silicon policy and config is enabling random. What? Sorry, I didn't really understand your question.
Well, I mean, I think.
Oh my God, it's
Hey,
Carp.
Carp's alive.
Finally joined us.
No, the
It's me.
question is random law sets, are they going to be enabled? And I mean, we don't have silicon policy for the random law sets, which can create a lot of issues. In my opinion, is the problem with random law sets.
We can restrict it on the config side to which of the law sets appear, but it does definitely turn into an issue with that. It's a fun idea because it'll introduce variation in a round, but yeah, from a policy standpoint, it's a fucking nightmare already, and that's when we've been hacking away on this same law set as the default law set for years now.
Are there any plans to reduce the murder boning that happens on sub 25 players? Admins can mess with murder boners easily, but punish them for doing that outside of sending a death squad or something like that? Not really. There aren't any plans concerning that. At least not from me. Not sure of the others.
We have someone who wants to speak. If you're okay with it, Mordo, you good?
Yeah, I'm okay with it. But why do you?
Okay, phony name. You can just rejoin.
Can't believe Carp opinion doesn't matter. So sad.
Yes. Carp's alive.
I'm already Carp.
He's alright.
Testing.
Yes, hello.
All right. So one of the questions I believe in the last administration, and then it kind of got brought up during this election, was the question of job responsibilities has always been viewed as an IC issue. I know one of the problems I used to have when I played on Bagel is that an engineer would fuck off with a rapid construction device and not do their job of setting up power at the beginning of the round. Are there any plans to address habitual shenanigans with this, or do you guys plan to keep it as an IC issue?
You guys want to go?
I really didn't understand the question. Apologies.
He's asking if we want to enforce some kind of OOC restrictions on people who are abandoning their jobs. Like
some
an
kind of
engineer.
bare minimum, yeah.
Like an engineer who is not setting up power, kind of thing. Or
well, if you're choosing a job to not play, and you constantly do this or abuse it, like for example, we had 3 guys in, I think it was Event Hall, that joined engineering every single round and went to space with equipment. I had to warn them against doing so. So yeah, they can be warned when it has excessive.
Okay, thank you. If I could ask one more small thing, when are we making Cat Green Captain Forever?
Tomorrow. No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
Please don't take
Based.
me seriously. Well, since you're done, let's go next question. Final for Mother. You guys planning on any road change to correspond with the influx of change in game design? I don't really have any plan regarding that personally.
Here's a question. Well, here's two. These are easy. Shadow Flames, like you guys thinking about more rule changes, feels like and it got cut off, but I'm assuming you're saying that there's like a lot. And yeah, rule bloat is always something to worry about. Anytime I try to look at rule evaluations, like see if they're in a good place, first thing that I look at is can it be condensed somehow. That's why I want to look at silicon policy. It's become so as bloated as it is for a reason, because these were all issues that someone in the past had to address. But at the same time, we can still look at it and see if there's a way to crunch it down. And also this really quick one, why are nuclear self-destructs rarely graded by admins? Because it can be fun and it can be flavorful and it could be interesting, but like honestly, if there's an antagonist still alive on station, it can be pretty shitty if like your entire round is blown out because the admins granted some clown captain the nuke codes.
Space Prius wanted to speak, so if you guys are cool with that, I'm going to give the speaking role to them.
Yeah.
Okay, try speaking now, Space. Although I think you need to leave and rejoin. I'm not sure.
All right, so I just have a few questions about a theoretical civil MRP.
Okay.
In terms of just how that would work. First question is, would you guys find like a new admin team for that, or would you retrain current admins for the MRP?
Personally, retrain. I think that will be better than admining new admins.
Yeah, we would have to see who would be available, like, or who would be interested.
Like, I had this idea during my term, and of course, MSO just, fucked me on it, but whatever. What I wanted to do was retrain admins that we currently have, and they'd have an easier time getting in. We would also have a separate admin team. Like, the two admin teams are separate, but if you're on the current TG one, hello? If you're on the current TG admin team, it would be a lot easier to transition into it. So I think that would be a good way to get some initial early staff while also having a separate administration.
Team talk.
And question 2 about that would what would be the time frame on that sort of thing? Because this would be something I'd be very interested in myself.
Oh, what the time frame on like rolling out an MRP server?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even. We would have to discuss rule changes, and it kind of depends on like how strongly all three of us feel about it, and like how much we're like all dedicated to rolling this out. I'm not saying that it's not a possibility if there's enough interest, but like as far as an estimation, I wouldn't even know. I know it's not a very satisfying answer, but it's a big project.
All right. Thanks then.
No problem. Any other questions?
No, I believe that's it.
Okay.
Just remove the roll and I'll drop out.
Yeah, you're good. We got Taraif? Taraif?
You have to Space. You need to rejoin. Yeah, there we go. Good. Okay, next question.
Let's see. You guys planning on any rule changes to correspond with the influx of changes in game design? It's becoming harder to heal and get back up again from damage, and how medicine does damage, and therefore messes with silicon policy. Yeah, that's we mentioned that at the last community meeting, and people seemed pretty interested in like specifically for medborgs, loosening the rules around that, and that's probably something that needs to be addressed sooner rather than later, honestly. Is at the least getting a way for them to heal a little bit easier rather than having to rely on old policy and work around it.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, there we go. What's your view on being forced to make safe changes by the coders? I won't comment on it, sorry, to avoid any drama from happening.
Okay, this person wanted to talk. Taraif. You have the role now. So you just need to leave and rejoin. Yeah, there we go.
I would like to have the voice role to ask a question after this. Frenchie.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, this thing working?
Yes.
All right. First off, Orange Man bad.
Okay.
But moving on from memes, I'm wondering like, is there any chance that we might be able to get a toxin slash radiation rework in the future? Because I'm noticing that like dealing with toxin or radiation as medbay player is just an absolute nightmare. Because with radiation, just there's
We
all
don't,
kinds
no
of
control
it's
code
filled with
changes for
contamination.
admins, okay? This is policy, not a code.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we can really reply to that.
You should spam ping oranges about that if you want help.
All right, then I'll bug him about it.
Yes, that will go over well.
Remember to rejoin, or well, you can mute the microphone
Oh
too.
boy.
Anilag
Waking up Mr. Stonewall. He's still sleeping.
He
I have a
slumbers.
question. He slumbers. I have a question. If you let me speak later, okay, very. But it is. I saw someone being Hulk asking to speak. Frenchie. It's for Frenchie. I probably butchered your name. I am so sorry, but well, it's his turn. Frenchie, try to speak
Yes,
now.
Frenchie.
Hello. Hi.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Right. Thank you for answering the question. So I have two of them. So
Mhm.
I've noticed that some longtime players playing heads will sometimes be kind of toxic and elitist towards newer players, like demoting them or batoning them out, which can kind of make it hard to learn a job. And like, though I understand that nobody wants like a first-time engineer near the SN, it has to happen at some point in a healthy server. So what's your point of view on this?
Well, one second. Could you mute your microphone because
Oh, sorry.
into my face? Yeah, sorry for that.
Get a lot of
Well,
feedback.
yeah. Well, we can really tell the heads of staff to not demote people that are not suited for the job. However, I do agree that it is a big move, and I personally will speak to the player to, instead of demoting them or chasing them out, that they teach the job to the new person. There's really no harm done in teaching someone a job, but that's how I, as an admin, will roll it. Not sure about the others. Well, since the others don't really have an opinion. What's your other question, Frenchie?
All right, so second question, not to give names, I've seen a chemist in particular that happened to be anti in a specific round flaunt his knowledge of chemistry, which OC was known to anybody because he actually was a good player, and he actually used that to justify using a syringe gun pumped full of chlorohydrate on any grade side or newly appointed chemist that entered chemistry. So I think there's an important difference between like normal antagging, whether it's doing your objectives or even attacking somebody randomly, which is kind of expected around the station, and actually using the antag to justify playing a normal round, but where you have like all the power of ultimate escalation and being a dick to anybody because you're antag before all. So what's your policy on that?
Well, personally, I think it is a red flag if they're chasing the new chemist out because it's their area of work too. Now, for assistants or people that grade trading, they're in their full right to take them out. But that's just me, not sir. Carp or Hulk?
Yeah, one of the big things on our server is Rule 4, which is lone antagonists can do whatever they want. There is the only place where this line becomes kind of blurred is if you're like every single time you're antagonist, you're mass murder boning using the exact same technique every time, and like there's a point where that you're like, hey, can you go do something else? You ask them politely and then see how things go from there. But for the most part, we don't step on an antagonist's ability to do things because that creates conflict, and ultimately, conflict is what drives any kind of video game, not just this one.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Well, thank you very much for the answers. I don't have any at this time.
Okay. remember to rejoin. Okay, here we go. Now, Ivory wants to ask a question, so let's give them community meeting. Try speaking now.
Hello.
Hi.
All right. So I'm a relatively new admin to the servers, and I've been a player for some time prior to that, especially getting back into the game around the time that Cobbychem was getting introduced. But around that time, and a lot of the time people had been talking about such things in the past, they were curious about if there were any plans for there to be some kind of admin or at least a position of oversight for the coders to some degree, outside of the ability for, say, a head coder to instill a feature freeze and work on bug issues and rebalancing. So as far as the headman administration is concerned, are there any plans to sort of intertwine the branches and be able to do something of that nature? Or is that just not your thing?
Not working, to be honest. At least for me, not sure if the others.
It's not our that we can't actually do anything about that. So.
Yeah, apologies.
Well, it's worth asking. I have no other questions.
Okay, remember to rejoin. 1 second, let me remove the role first. Oh shit, I missed you. Oh fuck. Okay.
I got it.
Oh shit, oh fuck.
Okay, got oh shit, oh fuck. Well, open question for either Carp or Morto, considering that it's an admin side question. Drones have been disabled for about a year or two now. Understanding the Terra headache for admin oversight, how will you rework drones in order to make them more workable from your position as an admin, as they have an important role in more hectic, hype-up runs? Really, drones are a difficult topic, to be honest. They have been enabled with different role changes and stuff, but I don't know. I can't really give you an answer that I'm feeling confident with. I will retouch this subject later or think about what can be done for to maybe enable them again for a testing period or something.
One of the big problems with drones was the fact that the line was kind of blurred in the, like, you can't interact with people. It's like where is the line of interaction drawn? And some drones were very polite upon their interpretation, and some people were very strict upon their interpretation of that rule. So just from a policy standpoint, either better defining or completely doing away with that and changing it to some other restriction on drones could be useful. I was around when drones were very first implemented, and it was nice because it was an easy, like, mass-produced way to get back in the ground that was an easy way to get back in the round that was, it was fun, it was interactive. You could go do stuff and without having to wait on, like, the fun ghost rolls that you might not even get. So they're fun. It's a cool concept. There would either need to be some kind of code level change, some kind of policy level change, or more than likely both.
Mm-hmm. Wasp gears or B gears for best waifu? B gears. Next. Let's see. Something him. You guys removing trader. Yeah, not even like printer.
Have admins, like, able to feed directives to drones? I mean, admins can feed directives to anybody, but I think you're overestimating the ability of an admin to micromanage around. Yeah. Like, you can't be on top of everybody all the time. That's why Devil was such an issue, is because there's no code, like, side restriction on their bane and their obligation. So if they're not challenging people to a fiddle match every single time they want to hurt somebody, the only way an admin can
No policy has stopped drones from breaking in.
The only way an admin can enforce that is to actually, like, stay on the devil's ass the entire round and make sure they're doing it.
I've got the full surprise for B girls, which means that all we need is it to be coded. Let's say that it is coded and it gets merged. Are the headmans interested in B girls?
I'm cool with B girls.
Nice.
B
girls now.
I have always said that I'm cool with B girls.
Jesus Christ it.
Girls. Okay, anyway, what is your question, Sticky?
Beat Boys.
Yes.
Sticky.
Sticky pinged me and wanted to ask me a question.
He's not
but
even.
I don't-
Oh yeah. He's.
Is he in voice chat?
He's in voice chat. I don't know.
Okay, Sticky, tell me. What do you want to ask me? You want to speak? Okay. 1 second. Community meeting. There. Try speaking
Oh,
now.
I've never seen Wizarditis in such random and virus outbreaks. There's one way to get Wizarditis in game, and there's a very convoluted way to actually make it happen, but I'm not going to tell you what it is.
I think I can unmute myself actually. Hang on. Oh, there we go. Okay. How much power do you think?
Construction site?
Yeah, maybe. How much power do you guys think the captain should have over the round? Like, do you think they should have total control and just be able to, execute anyone they want, like within reason, but not really within reason? Like, how far do you want them to be able to go in terms of their power?
Well, the captain is the leader of the station, so I mean, as long as every action they make has sense, they technically can do whatever they want, as long as it's under the rules. Let's make that clear. And it's not, oh, he looked at me bad, time to execute them. That's
Okay,
my
so like these captains that run around doing their whole burn the liggers thing, like they don't kill them, but they make their life hell. Is that fine?
It depends on case by case basis. Like, yeah, you can be racist if you want, but
I would say generally, there's nothing wrong with them doing that, but at the same time, if the lizards band together and take this captain down for being a shithead, then you're not gonna stop. You're not gonna ban the lizards for doing it either.
Yeah, right. No,
conflict.
just to be clear, I'm definitely on the side of captains burning lizards and mutinies and shit. It creates drama.
Yeah.
It does. But again, to a certain extent, drama and conflict are required to make the game interesting, and there's a fine line there between being frustrating and being, encouraging a fun-filled round of intrigue. So it's a hard edge to find.
Great. Can I get that in writing?
Yes.
Anyway, any other questions?
Are captains or hops who don't hand out all access during war ops valid? Do captains guide those rounds? Or is it okay for people to mutiny if they don't agree with how the captain is handling the situation?
Killing the captain for denying all access is, I don't know.
Well,
I mean, I personally heavily disagree with it because I mean, why would you kill them because they didn't give you all access, even if it's world peace? But that's my opinion as a player personally. Now, as a headman, if you're denying the people all access during War of Peace, you're purposely making them play handicap, as said by one admin when we discussed this. So it will be an easy issue if they had lynched for that, or at least that's how I will roll it now. Anyway, guys, want to say something?
Well, sorry. Shaps had an interpretation of this that I think is pretty accurate. If you're denying people access on war ops, you're kind of playing the role of the incompetent leader that's trying to micromanage people, and you're going to get people killed, and people retaliating to protect themselves isn't completely unreasonable. It is sort of self-defense in trying to get rid of a captain that's basically going to get you killed.
Mm-hmm.
What if you don't kill the captain but decide to steal their all access?
That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an easy issue.
Yeah,
I personally don't like it, but
I don't personally think war ops it's not a job requirement. You're not required OOC to go out and give out all access. Is it a damn good idea? Yeah, but we don't police people playing the game well. We just make sure that they're following the rules. So if you're going to play it like an idiot and not give out all access when you're in a position to do so, then that's on you. We don't penalize an atmospheric technician for not knowing the ideal way to optimize the loop. It's the same thing. It's just with people instead of, technical details.
as someone who wanted the mode removed, I agree that it's like if you don't hand out all access, you're basically valid to be lynched. Which is why I thought the problem itself is the game mode, not what the captains are doing or what the nuke ops are doing.
Absolutely, the game mode is. It's also just unfun if it rolls like nuke ops like 3 rounds in a row, and every single round is war ops. Like people will just leave.
Yeah, it's just TDM at that point.
Any other questions, guys? Okay, Shadow Flame. Since we're still on the topic of captains, captains can become valid by ordering harmful shadows like Super Matter or High Daniel or Meteors. The thing with this, though, is if anyone tries to claim the valid, security will lynch and murder anyone trying to harm the captain. Do you think the whole valid thing should change? No. Or do you think security should be less of a captain's army and more free? No. It's an IC issue, in my opinion, if you had lynched. Play dumb games, win dumb prizes.
What's the point of the mood system? It's flavor. That's the point.
That's its flavor, yeah. That's the fault of an I don't know how to pronounce that, sorry.
I'll TC trade for Daniel for everyone who wants it.
Let's see.
Will Quartermaster ever be a real head? He's a head in our hearts, okay?
Came back Daniel to captain orders him again and I had to kill them with a repercussion. Thank you, Kion. I appreciate it.
Can we add mushroom? Here's an actually interesting question, like not the subject matter because the answer is no, but just so people know. The question is, can we add mushroom people and snails to round start races? The answer to that is pretty much no. Mushroom people are like, they're not even fun to play as. They have, the only thing different about mushroom people is that they can't wear all kinds of clothing, and their punch has this really long windup, but it does a lot of damage and knockback. But as far as snails, part of the reason that flies got removed from being a round star default race is because there's certain races in the game that are only accessible through very specific circumstances, like flies going through a teleporter, or snails through going through like getting too many genetic mutations. There's a chance to become a snail. And adding these as round start races devalues the entire reason that these are in the game in the first place. Like if you could just play as them from round start, then what's the point in having this weird little interaction to become one in the first place?
How do you feel about turning Lavaland Swarmers back on? No personal opinion, to be honest.
Yeah, there's quite a few Lavaland ruins that are blacklisted, but
it was a really bad ruin.
The Swarmers were, they could be a little overpowering.
I want to bring attention to the fact that we used to have 20 cat slime emojis, and then Webley slaughtered them in cold blood. Now there's only 11. Will you, as admins, add back the remaining 9 cat slime emojis?
No.
Meow.
Please fuck off.
Meow.
Shut up, Sticky.
What are your thoughts on how Ash Walkers should change the policy?
Webs already spend money on other servers? No. What are your thoughts on how Ash Walkers were changed in policy? There's an issue that Ash Walkers have, and it's that their flavor text tells them to protect the nest, but it doesn't specify that they don't need to leave Lavaland. So technically, they can go to the station if someone is protecting the nest, and I see that as a glowing issue, to be honest.
It is an issue. It was moved in the right direction. Like, as far as the actual adding more restrictions to them, though, it was a good thing because we don't give, like the basic Lavaland ghost rolls are pretty much, like, almost all of them are designed to just teach you a role. Like, the life bringers are there to, like, mess around with botany, and then there's, like, the virus thing and the chemistry thing for the syndicate comms agents, and the golems are basically R&D. So, like, having one role that was free and tag, you could just drop into it anytime, and you're totally valid to go to the station and just start killing people is just stupid. Like, why wouldn't you just play that round start if you wanted to go kill people?
Tifros is asking if we don't mind them talking about the Toolbox tournament and asking for mappers. I personally don't mind. Are you guys okay with it too? Carp and Hope.
Yeah, I'm fine with
you
Citrus.
Plug in VC.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where the fuck am I? Okay, there I am. Good. I unmuted
Hi.
myself. I was looking for myself in the list and I couldn't find myself. Okay, cool. So, here's the deal. We're doing this in 2019. Time for the second Toolbox tournament. You guys might have done it before. It was a lot of fun. We did it around the same time of year. The name of the game is basically we're going to be making a tournament where we try to get donations for specific charities. It was really fun last time. We had like a lot of people coming around, and we raised like $2,000 last year. So we're pretty happy that we might be able to raise even more this year. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a way to show your skills and show how robust you are to the game, in the game, and it shows how great you are at getting lucky as well. So don't worry, there'll be lots of crazy things this year. The main thing that I need from all of you is mainly mappers and admins that might want to devote some time to the event, because I don't have a time yet as to when it's gonna happen. I'm kind of busy right now. I'm started working, but I just need mappers who are able to, have an idea of how to work with DM, and maybe some people who have probably worked with it last time. I know if you guys know MM he's really good at this kind of stuff. But if you guys have to bring like any sort of like specific talent to that you want to do for making the toolbox stuff, the toolbox map, then you can reach out to me, and you can put me slide into my DMs. You can see me. I'm a game master, citrus gender. Just
Leave
message
room for
me.
me.
Exactly, yeah. Slide right into my DMs, and yeah, absolutely, I can get you guys set up. But yeah, no, that's everything. It's a lot of fun, and I'll probably make an announcement later. But
Yeah. Do you have like a post? Like if you make a post in the
yeah,
feed,
I'll do that
I'll
soon. Yeah,
pin it.
I kind of just thought about it this weekend. I'll probably make a post later today.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, that's all, folks.
Thank you, Citrus.
Any other question, guys?
Yeah, questions are dying down a little bit.
Are there any common frustrations that we as the player base can help alleviate?
Stop being assholes.
Read
Just
the
be
rules.
nice to each other.
Just
And
don't
read.
break rules.
I swear to God,
Just be
always
nice!
go to. No, and when I go to event hall, it's horrible because they almost no one there reads the rules. So please, at least read the main ones, And if you're going to play as a silicon, read the silicon rules.
Actually, I'm interested. There's something I want to bring up. I think our message of the day, there's a lot of good information in there, but it's like so super fucking bulky and annoying, and like no one even reads it anymore, because like the first time you see it, you might read it, but after that, you like don't even notice it. If the message of the day got tweaked or brought down to a more like a smaller line, would you read it more if it was less bulky? That's just a question for just people in general.
No.
I don't know how to say your name. I'm so sorry. Is anything planned to address the meta? I don't know how to fucking pronounce that. Also, is Kilo coming back anytime soon? I don't really have any plans to address that issue yet, but I will love to speak about it with the others. What would you do if there was a child in front of you right now? I will ask him how the fuck did he got into my house. Next, is space law ever gonna become less subjective to prevent chipsec? Space law is an roleplay suggestion. It's not part of the rules.
Back when space law was more objective, the issue was that like shitsec would charge you with the harshest crimes possible, and they would tack on crimes that barely fit the mark, so they could give people like 20-minute sentences and shit like that. It was basically abused to like break people for as long as possible.
Get a lawyer.
Instead, we're heading deleted. That doesn't depend on us, Thoughts about replacing Toolbox Tournament with gladiator fights? 20 random guys with Roman armor fight to the death. Last one wins. It sounds like a fun idea, but
Bro, I'm not immersed with that. That doesn't immerse me.
I think Citrus said he was playing with the idea of having one battleground be like a coliseum kind of thing.
Yeah, I remember during the last tournament we had like jousting that Sticky tried to do, but they were just going too fast.
Fuck you, man. That shit
So,
worked
like,
amazingly.
fucking
Borg
hit each other.
jousting was an innovation.
It was funny, but like they just couldn't hit each other because they were going too fast.
Well, hey, now it's slower, okay?
They didn't have
Fair,
time
fair.
to train. Obviously, they're not going to hit each other.
The game slowed down. We could do it again.
The important thing here is we have to, make it known to the other servers that we're going to be doing this. Like, Hippie, they didn't take us seriously. Then they joined at the last second, and they lost in the first round. Hippie got owned, and they never recovered.
That's their fucking fault.
Yeah, bye-bye, Hippie.
Dude, yeah, I wish more servers would participate. Like I told all of them, and then only fucking Hippie showed up. It's very sad.
No,
Oh yeah, hardcore. Yeah, hardcore.
Wait, I was against them. Yeah, he just smashed them.
I mean, we won. Our team won. Just saying.
Gateway on all servers.
Shut up, idiot.
Gateway on one server right now is already
Toolbox
pushing
better
it.
than nerd.
Alright, enough about the fucking tournament.
Will Furator still be valid if he recites Willy Got Wood? He's always valid. What about chipsec that steals your stuff or just leaves it on the ground? Can I help that? I really, really hate to say this, but you can't help that. It's an IC issue. Unless if they're constantly doing that, then it becomes an issue, you know? Is it a problem when SEC refuses to arrest for crimes or interrupts with another officer arrest for a serious crime? Or when officers give minimal sentences for major crimes? Again, it's an IC issue. You can resolve it IC, you can speak to the head of security, to the captain, to the warden, but we can't really do much. Unless it's meta-friending, because if you break your friend out, but you act harshly towards other person, then yeah, meta-friending is okay in our servers, but it starts becoming an issue the moment you give each other an unfair advantage.
As Ari says, we do have a rule that says if they're confiscating things like after your arrest that are not related to the actual crime, then that's not allowed.
We always discipline anti brawlers and run-star suiciders. So I know you really don't notice it, but we do. Is using copy pastas IC for cheat posting purposes, like the Jason Gibson one, something bannable as OCEC, or meta grudging in some way or something, even if it's once in a while. If the person that is being targeted by the copy pasta feels annoyed or upset about it and they are help, then yes, it can be actionable. But otherwise, not really, or at least not in my opinion. What do you guys think? Card? Hulk?
As far as I think it's pretty like if it's of something in universe, I mean everyone in their groups of friends has running jokes. That's fine. Like there's nothing like groups of friends in real life have running jokes. It's a thing that happens. But if it's like just walls of text, that's an OOC problem.
As I said earlier, Fungi, I have plans for mentors, but it's not set on stone because I need a coder to help me separate the tools and everything, you know? If our team loses toolbox, will we shame them like Hippie Station did to their team? Yes. I'm joking. Don't shame them. What was your stance on public bans? Public bans, I mean, yeah, I guess they could work. I don't really have an opinion on them. I don't feel strong.
It was one that I was always kind of indifferent on because like it can be encouraging to see that because a lot of bans happen for like tiny things and people don't realize it. Like they think that people go unpunished for certain things and actually they don't. Actually they get banned for it all the time. They just don't know about it. At the same time, it's a privacy thing. It can create issues down the line where people can look at bans and like see who's been banned a lot and use that against them in one way or another. It's I'm kind of impartial on it.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts, Carp?
I'm fine with
Yes,
public
I'm
bans, but I mean,
Very cool.
the issue I see with it is that it seems like it'll be used as a shaming tool, which I personally don't give a shit about. But like, it's a case of, do the players actually want this, or is it a number of people that really want this, like arguing that they need it, while
Yeah,
most of the player base doesn't give a shit about it or something else.
it's a good way to view it. I agree with Carp. Next question is, so how shall we deal with meta-friend gangs or people meta-friending and having advantages from it? A helping, yes, and the administrator will determine if it is indeed a case of meta-friending or just a coincidence.
I think Sticky has another question.
Okay, go ahead.
Why did you say that with such disdain?
Yes, Sticky has a question.
All right. Lava Land Cindy's, right? And
Yes.
the comm satellite Cindy's. If they get to the station through like Station Space Explorers, are you alright with them being antagonistic?
Like if a space explorer brings them back?
Yeah, like with Lava Land, they need to be like fucking raided by the fucking oh man, I'm tired of shit. You know what I'm saying? They
Yeah,
need like some
I got you.
intervention to get out. So like, is that group alright to basically be antags? It's the miner's fault that they've released them, right?
For my money, the only reason you should be leaving the base is basically one, an admin gave you permission to, and two, the base is completely and utterly destroyed and somehow you didn't die with it. Like the bomb, like the self-destruct thing going off. At that point, yeah, you're free to go explore elsewhere, and I don't have any problems like with them acting as an antagonist because you work for the Syndicate and it's a super rare event anyway.
Yeah.
As far as the one with the asteroid, same thing. As long as it's still livable, you shouldn't be leaving it. But if you're on station somehow, like it gets ruined and you have no other option but to leave, and somehow you survive the journey, then yeah, sure, whatever. You're an antagonist.
Okay, great. And my follow-up was about ELP. What do you feel about the cat girl?
Epic.
Cut
We'll
off.
mute him.
How can one man be so based?
Anyway, well, since he got muted.
And really, the problem is the tentacles, because that's where.
Oh my god.
Let's see. Am I allowed to go into the lava land and mine ores for the base if I don't act antags towards miners? You shouldn't be leaving the base. Like, there's a reason. There's like a 4 tile. It might even be bigger than that. There's like a 4 or 5 tile wide thing of lava between you and the world around it. You're not supposed to be leaving the fucking base. Pretty much as simple as that.
Lawyer stealing prisoner from Big make them valid to kill Timeframe. No.
Can derelict drones explore space so long as it's not station side? No, you shouldn't really be leaving this station.
Yeah. In your personal opinion, what makes a round fun? A round is fun when people are interacting with each other, not just stuck in their department working like drones. That's my opinion of a fun round. Not sure about the others.
Yes, we should start winding things down pretty soon. I mean, we still have some time, but we're getting there. You're not suggesting role play, are you? Gross.
Role play.
Fucking gross.
Role play?
Yeah, what is that?
Oh yeah, the round, God. The meeting will end in 18 minutes.
Roleplay is when you pretend not to be burned out.
What, instead of enforcing whole space law, enforce brick procedures? I mean, that's one of those things that's like, brick procedure is something that you should be following yourself. You should, be cuffing people to the bed and then stun, like, make sure they're buckled in and you get their equipment away from them. And like, if you don't follow all these procedures, and they get out because they still have like a whole fucking tool belt. That's kind of your problem for being an idiot.
As flavor text, if you go medium RP.
Do people even read flavor text on role-playing servers other than for the purposes of making fun of people?
You guys, please, not asking questions regarding a player or an admin. This is to avoid any drama. I like pancakes, yes. Manage sheets that leave your shit on ground and stuff, or even don't strip. That's the problem. Yeah, I know, but we can't really do anything about it unless they're purposely stealing from people round after round. Then it becomes an issue. What's your policy on important roles drinking themselves to death? I do the same. Next.
I mean, it's the same as it's the Rule 5 thing. You know, you're expected to perform some kind of bare minimum amount of effort. Like, honestly, if you want to be ahead and you want to just like fuck off and kill yourself with alcohol, just promote somebody else. It's as simple as that. Go find the fucking clown and tell him he's the chief of engineering now, and then go kill yourself. It's all
Yeah.
some bare minimum of effort.
Just a normal day.
Yeah, just a normal day with clown engineer.
Clown chief medical officer. That happened once when I promoted them. It's worse than living brig and being sick when they are officer. A helpable. No, because I mean, yes, they're being dumb for living brig, but it isn't a helpable because they're working, you know.
Yeah, that goes back to my. We don't police people for being bad at a job. We police people for breaking the rules.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
She wants to.
Yeah, Frenchie wanted to ask something.
Okay. Let me add the row. 1 second.
Okay.
There. Hi.
Nice. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Right, so how about changing space law, which is, like, frankly, the big untapped thing that would allow admins to have icy rules that can be, like, dynamic, respected, and cool? You know, since SEC actually acts on those instead of being policed by admins. How about changing that into a constitutional universalist law set, you know, kind of based on the French 1791 Constitution, which is realistically what any advanced society is going to use, you know, in space.
Yeah,
Another advantage is that it's actually a good law system for interacting together. I really dislike the fact that many spacemen actually have a common law interpretation of space law, which is frankly appalling. Also, why will Citrus not DM a D&D game for me? What's your answer to that, admins?
Space law is a suggestion, and adding upon that won't really change anything. It's a fun idea, but it's not like it's going to change anything, you know. What our actual rules is the security policy we have on our rules. What? I said I like pancakes. I'm going to kill Victoria. 1 second. Yeah, anyway.
Hello? Oh, yeah, no. Sorry, bro. You didn't slide into my DMs well enough.
He didn't slide. Yeah, he wasn't impressed.
Motherfucker.
Here's if you think that I'll say this, that's kind of like a very specific thing that you've proposed. If you really think that that's something that you think is a good idea or would be workable, the best thing that you can do is make a policy thread on the forum where people can talk about it. Because that's something larger than we can just give an on-the-spot answer about if you're being serious about it.
Well, thank you very much. I'll do that.
Yeah,
And
no problem. Here was another question. The SM has been shut down a few rounds due to exploitation. Are there plans to stop this kind of exploitations? Here's something interesting about exploits. So generally, if something happens like once or twice, then it's okay because you kind of need that to give coders a kick enough in the pants to actually go around and fix the thing. But if somebody is just consistently abusing an exploit, you should help it. Like, it needs to be reported so we can put a stop to it.
Okay, any other questions?
Maybe.
Tiki wants to know what you said about escalation. How?
Specifically, I want to ask why you wouldn't delete escalation. Why is it more useful than having nothing there? Because it seems to be just a flow chart of conflict as opposed to any actual, icy freedom.
Like, why not just make it like live on rule 1, basically?
Basically, just get rid of it. Like, it's been reiterated on so many times. It's just fucking not working. It's a nightmare for admins because they have to follow this conflict. I know everyone says, yeah, it's simple, whatever, but it's a very complex game and a very simple rule set, and it's never really going to gel together. So
if you're
why not
deleting
go
it
back to
out,
rule 1?
if you're deleting it outright and you survive, like, rule 1 is not exclusive of escalation. They still apply. You
Yeah, I get
can
it.
you can let them mesh together, part of it is on admin enforcement, and everybody has a different interpretation, and that's something that we're just kind of going to have to live with forever. Like, no one's ever going to have an exact same interpretation of a rule. And the other thing is, if you just delete escalation outright, it adds ambiguity, which is something that we already have difficulty enforcing even with the rule set. Even with something that we can go back and reference as a tangible thing, like, here's how you behaved in a situation according to this set of rules. Even with that in place, sometimes there's a lot of confusion and blurred lines on if someone crossed it, like they broke the rule or they didn't break the rule, and there's all this stuff. So if you cut down on that and make it even more ambiguous, that's just don't be a dick, sometimes it's going to be questionable in a situation if you were a dick, because conflicts cannot just be boiled down to black and white. One person's wrong and one person is right every time. A lot of time, conflict has a lot of gray area.
And do you not think that setting everything out that firmly is going to result in just the wrong people using the rule set to abuse everyone else? And I mean, it seems like, new players basically lose out because all of these old guard shitters, including me probably, know exactly how the rule set works and how to twist it to, loophole around it and start conflicts with anyone. And at that point, isn't that just going to be far worse than just deleting the fucking thing?
Oh, that definitely happens, but introducing this, it would still happen if it was just Rule 1, because it already happens with Rule 1 in place in addition to these other rules, so it's still going to happen with just a Rule 1 interpretation. And even with all of that, no matter what change is made, no matter what's going on in the server, Rule 0 is still there, that enforcement is up to the discretion of admins. So no matter what, you're going to have to rely on how the admins are going to interpret a situation and how they personally are going to enact punishment. Because Rule 0 allows them to act beyond the bounds of escalation policy. Rule 0 allows them to act beyond the bounds of Rule 1 or any other rule if it's for the good of the server. So no matter what, you're going to have issues.
Okay, and last question. Have you got any more information on this secret token selling ring that some of the admins have been part of for the last few months?
I don't know if I can publicly comment on that right now, but I will say that if you have some extra spending cash, you can hit me up.
Regarding the special roles, I will remove them, probably, if the others are okay with it. Like,
DM me Fantag tokens, bye.
I was looking for the restricted section of the code and it was web. That's it. Hardest political dictation in Abyssinia. No comments. Anyone has any questions? Oh no, please, no more questions.
This is boring. Make it more fun. All right. You can just leave.
Do you take proper care of yourselves? Yes.
Oh, that's debatable.
One day why Landy was
No.
Can I sing the U.S.
No.
national anthem? Can I? Yes, absolutely.
Car by a mic.
Sorry, it's not allowed.
Play Halo 3 with you?
It's
As soon as
okay.
Master Chief Collection comes out, just hit me up and we can play.
I think all productive questions have been exhausted at this
it's gone
point.
downhill.
Whoa! We haven't done the policy discussion lightning round.
No, we're not doing that, okay?
That was the entire meeting.
What? Yeah, but I just wanted to read down.
You know what,
policy
Sticky? When
discussion
are we
and
gonna
get-
kick Goon's ass again? And Left 4 Dead 2.
Oh god, that was so good. I think I've still got the Where's the fucking image? One
Dude,
sec.
I'm so fucking down again for that.
That image was great. I was very pleased with that. Our little
Right.
video.
Morto or Corp, do you have anything left to add?
Yes. Add beards.
There it
That's
is.
all. More beards.
More.
Beards.
Specific,
I
yes,
don't know.
not beards, birds.
No beards. More bears.
Never, I posted it for you.
More fish, not birds.
Actually, I am interested in adding more community events.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have some written down, but nothing is set on stone yet. The first one that I want to make that is pretty easy should be an art contest. Like,
Community events are not
okay.
they're not strictly like only the headmans can run them. Like it's
Yeah.
anybody can do it. Like they just have to have the motivation to do it, and then like we'll work alongside anybody who wants to make something happen.
How do I tell the admin I killed
I
him and
haven't
what higher
I have an outline specifically. I mentioned this in my candidate thread. I have an outline for like a murder mystery thing, and the only issue with that is that like you couldn't have like 100 people running around doing a murder mystery. You would have to restrict it to like 20 or 30. But I do have like a whole little plan for a little role playing event.
Just run
Yeah,
like
cool.
20 meteors first, and then you'll only be down to about 15 people, and you can run your event. That's
Yeah,
what I
there you
usually
go.
do to thin out the herd.
If you don't survive a meteor swarm, then you just weren't good enough.
How do I tell the admin I killed the man while high on marijuana? Well, you need to bring the admin apart, confess your crimes, all while crying uglily. I don't know how to pronounce that
Oh
shit.
yeah, you're good.
Yeah, clearly. That's it.
Important question, Inca or Aztec? Aztec. Mostly because they're my Camorto drink my tears. No. I will
Are we
have
done here? Hello?
Yeah, we are done.
Yep.
All right, Webley, do you have
Okay,
any
okay,
final
okay.
parting messages that you want to say as
yeah.
as a leaving headman? Now is your chance.
I'm gay.
All right.
Base.
If I had a final message, I would say, I should have thought about that before I asked Webley.
Citrus is cute.
Fuck TG, fuck Jenny's, and fuck MSO. Okay, bye bye.
Wow,
All
grumpy, salty boy.
All right, we're doing it. It's
That's
time.
cute.
It's time to open the
Thanks, Webley.
floodgates.
Bye
Like and subscribe.
Bye bye.
Everyone now has speaking
Bye bye,
roles.
weed
Leave and
man. Bye
rejoin.
bye.